Welcome back to Creating Hanley. I'm Kimberly, your host here at Creating Hanley, and we are making this wacky cut abstract flower 4-patch quilt block for you today. And just to show you, I used black themed fabrics, so it might be difficult to see the flower pattern in the middle, but can you see that? This right here. Yeah, you can see that. This is what we are making today. Yay! All right, now cut 4 8-inch squares, different colors. I used peach, green, this teal, and this gray on white. 8-inch squares, 4 of them. Now, once you have those cut, stack them on top of each other in exactly the right measurement, if that makes sense. So perfectly, stack them up as perfectly as you can get them. Take a rotary cutter and a cutting template, a ruler that will cover both sides. So you don't want to, a ruler that's too short. Now we're not going to cut this. We're going to cut this in 4s, but we're not going to cut this 4 inches by 4 inches. We're going to cut this at an angle. So we're going to make it wacky or wonky. Now you want to leave at least an inch on the edges. So if you want to take it like to the corner, don't. Try not to do that. Come in about an inch. So you can cut it as sharply, as steeply as you want, or as mildly as you want. It's up to you, but at least leave an inch that way on top and bottom. Okay, so I'm going to come in like about this angle, and I'm going to slice through all 4 layers. Now I have mine on a twirly mat, so I'm just going to turn it a 1/4 degree, and now I'm going to do the same thing, and it doesn't have to be the same angle cut. It can be a little bit different, but again, just make sure you have at least an inch on both sides. And slice through all 4 layers. Now what you're going to do is leave one open. So I'm going to leave this one open. Now I'm going to take this top one. So if I explode it, right there, you have a 4-patch now. Okay, so I'm going to take this top one and put it on the bottom like so. Now I'm going to take the next one and separate 2 fabrics, take those out and put that on the bottom. So I have these 2 here. Now instead of doing 3, all I'm going to do is take the bottom one, separate that, and put it on the top. So now my puzzle piece looks like this. I'm going to sew these together, and I'm going to sew these together, and then I'm going to sew those together. Okay? So let's take it over to the machine. I'm going to slide this out of the way a little bit. I'm going to take, just so you can see it, I'm going to take these 2 and make sure you have separated all of your fabric so you're not inadvertently putting different layers together. You just want to take the top layer, put that together, line up, so face sides together. So we just cut this, now we want to put it back together. So now we're going to put face sides together and line up those corners. Just exactly that edge where you just cut. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. 1/4 inch seam allowance straight down for everything, for all of the sewing that we're going to do here. Okay, now, so this top layer is done, right? I'm just going to set this aside. Now the next layer. I'm going to chain piece this, so I'm not going to cut this yet. I'm going to take the top layer and then put these together. So, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Again, line up those cut edges. Exactly, those corners should line up exactly because you just cut them, so they should line up exactly. Take that to your machine, 1/4 inch seam allowance, straight line down. Now, when you open these up, you can finger press. I didn't cut this thread in between. Finger press or iron. So I'm going to go in opposite directions. So see how the seam allowance is pressed to the opposite sides? Now I don't need to cut. I'm simply going to take these edges and line these up and then sew directly along that edge. Okay, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now they are wonky, so they're not going to nest. Notice I didn't say nest or nestle the seams. I'm simply moving these from one side to the other because right here is going to be a intersection anyway. So it's going to be a lot of bulk right there. And that's the only reason why I'm separating the seams. Now, if you want to keep them going in the same direction, that's fine. You can do that. It doesn't nestle or nest. I'm still taking a 1/4 inch seam allowance, following straight along that cut line. Now I'm joining both of these rows together to create a brand new square. And there we go. So I have a little bit of a wonkiness up here and a little bit of wonkiness there. But that is what my new block looks like. So you can press these open if you want. This seam in the back, you can press that open or you can press it down. However that works for you. It doesn't make a difference so I just ironed it to one side. It doesn't make a difference in your pattern. Now we're going to do this to the rest of these. So keep these in order. Okay? Take this top piece. Face sides together. Line up these corners. And 1/4 inch seam allowance. Don't cut your fabric. Take the bottom row. Sew these two pieces together. Push this out of the way. Line up your corners. Okay? And then sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm trying to get these absolutely perfect. Now, it doesn't matter too much because you are going to trim everything at the end so that everything will be squared up then. Or if you wanted to, now that you have this piece, go ahead and square this up so you don't have this overhanging piece here. In fact, that's a really good idea. You can go right ahead and square these up. Once you get all of these done, I'm going to say that. Once you get all of your 4-patch, this is now becomes a 4-patch. Yeah, this is a 4-patch, but now this is a 4-patch together. Square up all of these when they're done. And you do that because you want to see what the smallest square is going to be. And then you square up all of them to the smallest. Okay? So, I'm doing this again. You don't have to take all these apart like I am. You can leave these all in if you want to. Just do all of your chain piecing. But I'm showing you this for the camera. Okay, now that I have this here, now they're not going to be square. Remember, you have to line up this angled edge, corner to corner. This corner to this corner. Line up that edge. Now, yes, I put the seam allowances in opposite directions because there's bulk right there. But that's the only place. Again, they do not nestle or nest. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Straight down. And that is what this block looks like. So now we have this block done and this block done. Okay. You can iron them now as you go, or you can iron them at the end, or finger press, or whatever works best for you. So we have 2 more to do. Again, line up the edges. These are all at an angle, so nothing is going to be square. But the most important part is to line up these corners and line up this edge and do your 1/4 inch, sew your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Take the bottom, line that up, face sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And here I'm just going to chain piece. I'm leaving that in because I have 1 more set to do. So line up those corners. And line up these corners. All right, I'm going to cut this apart now. Now I know these 2 go together and these 2 go together, okay? So I'm simply going to open up this, finger press, open up this, finger press. This becomes a unit. Line up the corners. And I'm going to press this because it's getting a little wonky. So sometimes when your fabric is just kind of, I don't know what to say. It's not flat. I like to work with flat fabric. So once it's flat, it lays a lot easier and you can work with it a little bit better. Okay. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And same with here. Open this up. Open this up, face sides together. Line up these corners and sew 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I have all 4 of my 4-patch units sewn. Just take a quick press. And now we can align the fabric into a pattern that we want. So I used all different colors here to show you, instead of it being just all, one theme, we can come in with some brighter colors. So line it up in a pattern that you want. I'm going to put my peach colors in the center, like so, like that, okay? But you can do whatever you want. If you want to put blue in the center, put blue in the center. Do you see how that works? If you want to put white in the center, put white in the center. And there's that. In fact, I kind of actually, now that I'm playing with this, I kind of like that one. If you want green in the center, put green, or whatever your colors are. That makes it very bright, and you can definitely see that. So, whatever works for you, it's your quilt, it's your playtime. Originally, I thought I wanted the peach in the center, but I don't know. Maybe I'll go with something else. Here's blue. You know, I really like the green in the center. Oddly enough, I like that dark green in the center, so this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to set two aside, and actually now is the time where if you were going to trim up, this is what you would trim up. So you would take your ruler and you would trim up whatever it is that you need to trim to whatever inches that you want. I'm just going to take it straight to the machine, and I'm putting face sides together, and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now remember, this is a Whacky, Wonky flower petal. So does it have to be exactly perfect? Not really, if that's the name of it. Whacky Wonky. Okay, now open it up. Okay, now I wanted the green together, so I need to turn these around like so and sew this together. Yes, you can iron if you want to, but this is the definite portion where you line up the seams. So you can nest your seams right here. That is a good thing to do, and I'm going to exactly do that. So nest the seams right here, and your seam, when you pull these apart and look all the way down, they should be lining up exactly, okay? That's called nesting the seam. You should be able to feel that under your finger, that they feel right. Take it to your machine, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And there you guys go. There is your new block. Have fun making this. Size this up and trim this down. This should probably come out to a 12 inch, 12.5 inch block if you used 8 inches. Definitely. This is a 12.5 inch ruler, and you can see it comes out to 13 inches. So I have plenty of room to trim down. So you can use a 7.5 inch block if you want it more close to 12.5 or 12 inches to trim down. Now keep in mind, I did not trim my smaller blocks as I went, and I really should have. However, this gives you a little extra wiggle room. Okay, have fun making this. And there is your Whacky Cut Abstract Flower 4-patch quilt block. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.